And you described the conditions that you grew up in. So you're, first of all, what stands out quite remarkably is the degree of hunger.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit about what it was like when you were a kid in the 90s in Korea with regards to eating.
So it's North Koreans are on average 3 to 4 inch shorter than South Koreans because of the malnutrition. And I'm like 5'2", but most of North Korean men are shorter than me. So if you are above 4'10" high, you must go to military. So tons of North Korean adult men are around 4'10", like even below that right now. So this severe malnutrition affects even our brain development. North Korea's average life expectancy is like if somebody lives up to 60, we think they lived a really long life. Like my grandmother who died from almost like malnutrition before her 60, everybody thought like, oh, she lived long enough to do that. So it is a different planet we are talking about. Being in North Korea, of course, like only way for me to get my proteins were eating, grasshoppers, dragonflies, a lot of insects, tree barks, plants, flowers, and that's how we survive. And most of people die in the spring because that's when there's no like really insects and plants are. And that's where every spring there's most of people dying and majority of people dying that time.
Yes, and you said that for you and for the people around you, spring wasn't a time of hope and renewal, but the absolute worst time of the year.
The
And so
season
maybe
of
you can
death.
explain that.
Yeah. Yeah, so every spring I remember my skin should like cut off from the like vitamin lackness that I would get dizzy, and it's like season of death every spring. The people who couldn't wait until the summer so the plants grow, and that's when like we all know that tons of people gonna die. And I still remember I escaped in the spring in at the March of 2007. One day I had a really bad stomach ache and my mom took me to the hospital. But in North Korea, of course, there's no electricity, there's no x-ray machines, none of that. Literally a nurse using 1 meter to inject every patient in the hospital. And people don't die from cancer in North Korea, they die from infection and hunger mostly. And the doctor literally told my mom that she has appendix. I think we gotta operate on her like right now in this afternoon. And they do not use anesthesia. It's a very like people don't use anesthesia in North Korea. So they would cut my belly open that afternoon, and I was fainting. And they said, "Oh, she just malnourished. She got an infection. She doesn't have any appendix." But and then they closed me back, and then it literally from our hospital to the bathroom, there were like piles of human bodies piled up. And you see children like chasing the rats, eating just rats eating human eyes first. And then children catch these rats and they eat and they somehow die from I don't know what it is. Then rats eat the children back. So this cycle of us eating rats and they eat us back is going to continue and continue.
Yeah, and you said that was happening in the hospital. You also mentioned in that episode that you woke up before the surgery was over because the anesthetic ran out.
Mm. It was yeah, it was not even like actually a full anesthetic. It was more like a dose of I think sleeping pill, like a lot of tons of it. So most of people in North Korea right now, even when they cut their legs open, sewing their bones, they do not give any anesthesia because it's a free healthcare and regime do not provide anything for the people.